Díogribh, tá céad míle fáilte romhaibh chuig an seamannas brunta céimeanna ar leis seo. Greetings from the Public Theatre or Exam Hall of the College of the Holy and Undivided Trinity of Queen Elizabeth near Dublin. I'm Brendan Tagney, and as Registrar, I welcome you, the graduates, and your friends and family to this graduation ceremony. We are now in our second year of holding ceremonies in this digital modality, and we've all gotten used to doing many things in this way. Some work well in this medium, but others less so. The online event does fulfill the formal aspect of the ceremony, but will only go some way towards replicating the vibe of being on campus with friends, classmates, and family. Commencement ceremonies are actually meetings of the University Senate and are presided over by the caput, or head, led today by the Pro-Chancellor of the University, Dr. Jane Grimson, who is joined in the caput by the Pro-Provost of the College, Professor Jürgen Barkhoff, and by the Senior Master Non-Regent, Professor Kevin Devine. The Senior Proctor, who will present graduates to the Senate, is Professor Werner Blau. Myself and the Mace Bearer, Mr. Joe Mockler, are in the Public Theatre, while the rest of the participants join remotely. I will say a little more about the formal ceremony shortly, but first, the Pro-Chancellor has a few remarks to make.
It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to this graduation, or commencements as we call it, ceremony of the University of Dublin this morning. And a particularly warm welcome to all of you who are about to be conferred with your degree. This is a wonderful and happy occasion in which we celebrate your achievements. I'm only sorry that because of the pandemic, it's not taking place in the real world, especially as today is such a warm, sunny day in Dublin. I always enjoy chatting to the new graduates and their families and friends in Front Square after the ceremony, and I'll miss that interaction, hearing about your time in college and your plans for the future. On the positive side, if it was a normal ceremony, each graduand would only be able to invite 2 guests due to the space limitations in the Public Theatre. But in the virtual world, you can invite as many people as you like from anywhere in the world. So I hope you'll take the opportunity to celebrate your achievements with family and friends, whom I'm sure have played an important role in supporting you in your studies. I mentioned at the start that we call this ceremony a commencement ceremony to mark the fact that it represents a new stage, a new beginning in your lives. So I'd like to end by wishing all of you about to be new graduates every success in the future, and look forward to being able to welcome you back to Trinity sometime in the future.
There are a few points to make before we begin the formal ceremony. One might ask, what is the purpose of a ceremony? And my answer is that it is an opportunity to publicly and formally celebrate some event or achievement. A criticism of our modern connected world is that we are always on and go from one activity to another without a break, or worse still, we multiplex and try and do several things simultaneously. I would encourage you to take this ceremony as an opportunity to pause and reflect and acknowledge the significance of what you have achieved in obtaining your degree and the extent to which it marks the closing of one chapter and the beginning of another. In marking the occurrence of significant events, ceremonies encourage us to take the long-term view. You are not to be first to be graduated from this theatre, which is over 300 years old, and you are not the last. This is not to diminish the occasion, but rather to position today and your achievement in that long arc of tradition and mark your formal entry into the Trinity alumni community, which transcends space and time. This is not Trinity's first pandemic. There's a bench in New Square where you may wish to sit when you're next on campus, dedicated to the memory of R.M. MacDowell, who studied and taught history here. He told me the story of how he caught Spanish flu in 1919 and thankfully lived to tell the tale. So today, you will secure your place in the history of college as the COVID graduates, and you can tell that story to your children and grandchildren. As previously stated, the formal ceremony to follow is a meeting of the Senate of the University of Dublin, at which you, the graduates, will have your degrees conferred upon you. As an aside, a practical manifestation of the subtle and sometimes confusing distinction between the university and the college is that when writing letters after your name, it should read, for example, BA brackets Dub and not BA brackets TCD. Following a tradition which stretches back to the origins of the university, our commencement ceremonies are conducted entirely in Latin. The Latin ceremony recognizes the university's historic past, reflecting a heritage shared with the oldest universities of Europe. Latin was the language of learning and debate all across Europe when these first universities were the seedbed of scholarship and enlightenment. Within the universities at the time, Latin was the language of study, the language of philosophy and the sciences, of law, and of all the professions. And that shared language, long before the World Wide Web, allowed the exchange of ideas between scholars and universities, transcending the boundaries of empire and religion in old Europe. As far as this ceremony is concerned, it is by continuing to use Latin that we acknowledge our heritage, the intellectual foundations of the modern Western world, and the debt we owe to scholars and to scholarship of former times. The ceremony will be opened by the Pro-Chancellor with the Salvete, which is a general welcome to us all. This will be followed by the Registrar reading the University's Senate minutes, which relate to the last degree awarding meeting of the Senate, i.e. the last commencement ceremony which took place before this one. The Senior Proctor will ask the Caput to approve the awarding of the degrees. The Mace Bearer then calls for a vote by members of the Senate, and the Pro-Chancellor asks for agreement of those present, which is given by the response, plaquette, it is agreed. The Senior Proctor will then present each degree and call out the names of the candidates, commending them to the Pro-Chancellor for admittance to the degree. The Pro-Chancellor then admits the named candidates. The Pro-Chancellor will close the ceremony, bidding us all farewell with the words of the Valete, goodbye. I now hand us over to the Pro-Chancellor to begin the formal ceremony.
Salvete senatores omnes, domini doctores, domini magistri, salvete candidate juniores, salvete hospites, undique hic benignissime congregati, comitia fiant in nomine Dei, Amen.
Comitia aestiva, termino sanctissime Trinitatis, primo matutina, habita die 11 Juni, anno Domini millesimo secondo vicesimo primo. Caput Senatus, Pro Cancellaria, Sheila Maria Green, Doctor in Philosophia. Pro Prepositus, Petrus Daemonus Josephus McManus, Doctor in Philosophia. Senior Magister non regans, cum genus Martinus Divine, Doctor in Philosophia. Procurator Senior, Furnus Josephus Blau, Doctor in Scientis. Registrarius, Dionysius Brendanus Tangni, Magister in Scientis. Gradus Seniores ac Juniores, Solemni modo collati sunt, examinatone habita in album senatus referenda, Registrarius curabit.
Re honorabilis pro cancellaria totaque universitas. Supplicant reverensis vestris ei, qui in cartis quae in manibus nostris sunt nominantur, ut his commissiis ad gradum supernomina designatum admittantur. Ego fide mea testo expondio toti academiae, unum quemque candidaturum his cartis nominatum, omnia exercitia gradum, ad quem unus quisque aspirat, pertinentia pro legibus academicis rite complevisse.
Ad scrutinium.
Placet ne vobis domini doctores,
Placet.
placet ne vobis domini magistri,
Placet.
placet omnibus.
In absentia. Baccalaurii in artibus. Quin Rian Bracy. Paul Julie Louise. Brady Arnold, Ethan Robert. Duncan Winifred. Baccalaurii in Technologia Dentaria. Azad Nubu. Holsgrove Kira. Baccalaurii in Sciences Therapia cum Radiatione, Cartis Honoraris Donate. Heinz Ashlin. O'Driscoll Cahill. Prendergast Elizabeth Allison. Aketch Stephanie Amani. Udiogan Diadem. Chia Wiki Rebecca. Claffy Amy. Delahoy Sophie. Donnelly Katie. Donovan Claire. Farrell Evine. Heaver Sinead. Holmes Katie Marie. Keeley Clodagh Malaika. Keenan Sean Joseph. Litvinova Darya. Mitchell Meg. Murphy Rachel Mary. Newell Ola. Nurdin Iman. Skelly Aideen. Staunton Mairead. Thunder Ella. Zadorozhny Alexander Anatolievich. Baccalaurii in Studiis Socialibus Cartis Honoraris Donati. Coney Karen Elaine. Holdsworth Victoria. Ryan Katrina May. Walsh John Patrick. Baccalaurii in Artibus et Baccalaurii in Tentaria Scientia Cartis Honoraris Donati. Husnaina Shahat. Kelly Maeve Margaret. Lal Varsha. Luiber Esther Luca. McDonald Irla John. O'Kelly Lynch Erna. Clarkson Michael Patrick. Connolly Catherine Rose. Daly Keelan. Davenport Sydney. Frawley Kate. Gavin Charles. Hamid Mohammed. Harrison Grant. Henry Heather. Hevesi Orzolia. Hill Sinead. Joyce Roisin. Keating Cormac, Khan Mahnoor, Kilgarif Sirsha, Lee Ming, Lee Michelle C.N., Lim Yakomus J. Xuan, Lim Stephanie Yen Ling, Magdalene Sami, McCullough Allison, Mo Jerry Heng Shen, Ryan Michael, Sproul Wilson, Tuffy Kate, Virk Komal, Wildman Tiana Jean, Samros Yusadi Fatin Amni, Baccalaureate in Dentaria Scientia, Briscoe Leah, Campion Kennedy Dervela, Kaminsky Carly, Malik Hamza Maksud, O'Neill Shane. Prehonorabilos pro cancellaria totaque universitas. Commendo vobis filios meos de gentes peregre, quorum nomina recitata sunt supplicationesque placuerunt. Quos scio, tam moribus, tam doctrina habilis et idonius esse, ut ad gradus quos petunt admittantur.
Ego autoritate mihi concessa, admitto candidatus de gentes peregre, quorum nomina recitate supplicationesque placuerunt, pro quisque meruit ad respondendum quaestione in artibus, in technologia dentaria, in scientias therapea cum radiatione, in studiis socialibus, et in dentaria scientia. Valete senatorius, non dutius vos morabimur, valete candidati nois honoribus decorati, valete et vos hospites acaptissimi, comitia salvantur in nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.